Hello, everybody. Thank you so much to Brian Brough, the director of the new Great American Family movie, Love in Aruba. Thank you so much, Brian, for joining us.
Oh, my pleasure.
Tell us a bit, what's been the main element in Amber's and Connor's characters and the story in general that fascinates you the most and also drew you to join Love in Aruba?
Um, in terms of, I don't know, let me think. That's a good question. I mean, I like the relationship just, with our main character. She goes and, she's kind of at a crossroads of what should I do? I think she has a break and she has an opportunity to go off and live life a little bit more. So from that standpoint, it's kind of a interesting dynamic. She has to get out of her comfort zone, do something different, but is also able to enjoy a beautiful environment and go do that. And so I think she's a little out of her comfort zone, but at the same time, she's probably more comfortable than he is. He's just not used to having a woman around the house anymore. And so, he has to kind of become more comfortable with that situation. And they both have to figure out how to get along with one another, given I wouldn't say it's an odd situation, but given the new circumstance of having them together, as she goes to watch his daughter.
Okay, and for all the fans that are looking forward to watching Love in Aruba, how would you describe the movie if you had just like three words?
Oh, 3 words. That's hard. um, you know, Probably fun, romantic, and lighthearted. Want to call that?
Yeah, great picks. And on the directing side of your work in this movie, how would you what's been the main challenge for you in directing this movie?
Um, so this movie we filmed mostly in Aruba. And it was actually filmed during COVID, so that made it a little bit challenging to travel there and to film during that. Um, Acting wise and story wise, everything went really smoothly. One challenge was probably just the fact that Aruba is very windy.
Yeah.
And so just dealing with the wind all the time, just made it so we had to make sure we adjusted, Amber's hairstyle so it can fit when it wasn't constantly flying in her face. Um, and picking the spots of how to do things and how to manage it just to deal with the wind. So not as so it was more of a technical aspect of it, but that was probably our biggest challenge. And that being said, it wasn't like a horrendous challenge or anything. But that's one thing we just had to deal with on a continual basis, is just adjusting for how much wind was down there. So but it was fun and we had a good time doing it.
Yeah, I can imagine that. And as you were mentioning a little about the whole storyline that we were going to see in the movie before, and but what can you tease about Amber's and Connor's journey throughout the movie? What can fans expect from their journey in Love in Aruba?
I mean, one thing about Amber's side is, for I don't know how many people actually know what the storyline is, but basically Amber is hired to go down as kind of a nanny or a tutor to help Connor's daughter while he's working down there. So it's kind of watching her, but also helping her stay up on her schoolwork. And so as a result, she goes out and instead of doing the traditional book learning all the time, it's taking advantage and teaching his daughter as they go and explore Aruba. So that was a fun aspect of doing it, and that was it was fun to be able to go and see all that Aruba has to offer. And before we wrote the story, we went down to scout and just look around and see what does Aruba have to offer. So one thing that viewers can really look forward to is seeing a lot of the highlights of things that you can do in Aruba. We did a lot of things, everything from going to different caves and going to an ostrich farm and to the Flamingo Island and be on a pirate ship, all this other stuff that was really fun. And we basically said, okay, how do we incorporate these elements into the story? And so, it does, I think the movie does a great job of highlighting, the fun things that there are to do in Aruba. And then we try to weave that in very carefully with a story to give it a purpose. So it didn't feel like just a travel log of a movie, but instead that it served a story purpose throughout.
That's beautiful. I mean, we're looking forward to see the movie and watch and see more of Haruba and the whole landscape in it. And talking about the environment on set, how would you describe your experience working while filming on Love in Aruba? And do you have any fun anecdotes to share with us?
Ooh, I mean, filming there was a lot of fun. You know, the cast was great. My crew, we work with each other quite often, so you know, everything went really smoothly for that. Fun anecdotes. So we did film this a little while ago, so I'm trying to remember, like, hey, what happened during that movie? We have a lot of fun in all of our movies, but it's hard to go back and remember the different things. But I mean, overall, it was fun for both the crew and the cast to go off and experience things for the first time. You know, we went to there's an island there that you can go to where they have flamingos on the island. And so you take a little ferry over there, and that was really fun and exciting to get there and actually have the interaction. And I'd probably think about, as you mentioned, that is probably one of the coolest ones was there's a scene where they go to an ostrich farm, and the actors are able to actually feed the ostriches for the first time. And so they had never done it before. We didn't rehearse it with them doing it. So the reactions of the actors are 100% real, as you know, they kind of get the little tray of food and they back up to the ostriches, and then the ostriches come over from behind you and they just start pecking really loud and hard and grabbing
No.
everything. And it's kind of freaky doing it, but it's also like really exhilarating. So the
Yeah.
reactions were very real. And Sasha Leia, who plays the character of Amber, she had a big oh my gosh reaction to it, and to the point where we actually kept that in there. We had to adjust the audio so it wasn't. We kept it in there, but it was almost too big in real life. So we pulled that back, and as we did the sound mix, so it didn't sound out of place. But yeah, that was really fun. Just go and do and back up and do that. And then it was actually right after that scene, they actually eat an ostrich egg, which is
Yeah.
this monster egg there. And so you know, and Sasha Leigh, our actress, she played a prank on our other two actors. And just in one scene, it's not actually in the movie, but it was just an outtake. I'm like, hey, go ahead and eat the whole egg and stuff it all in your mouth. So she just grabs it and just starts stuffing all the food in her mouth, and talking with her mouth full and just dripping with food. And so that was kind of a fun little thing that happened on set, just to have fun with the other actors. So
No, that's incredible. I think it must have been really, really so fun to
yeah.
live this moment. And
Yep.
two fun questions that we always ask to the people we're interviewing and consider when we're talking about Love in Aruba. It's on the Love in Aruba universe.
Mhm.
Um, if you could choose a character from the movie from Love in Aruba that you would have loved to play if you were an actor, which one would it be and why?
Um, I'd probably say there's not like tons of characters in there, so not as many to choose from. But the character of Tony that was played by Daniel Gerald, he's like his co-worker that's down there. He was a really fun character. He's kind of a supporting character that's there to be a sounding board and to help him, you know, not only just with work, but help him with his personal life. So he was always fun. He gets to be around for a lot of the scenes and have an important role without having to have all the pressures of everything. So yeah, I'd probably want to play Tony. So
Yeah. And throwing back instead to the origins of your career as a director, how did the passion for directing come about in your life?
I don't know if it came around as a passion. I used to work as an assistant director on different movies as a first assistant director. So I'd work very closely with the director and with a cinematographer.
Mhm.
And as we had different story ideas, I just kind of came to the conclusion, like, you know what, I've been around this enough. I can do this too. And so, you know, it's been a process, you know, from the very first film I did till now. You go and hopefully you learn new things on each project and can apply that new knowledge on every project you do. But it's been a nice journey to be able to hopefully progress and improve on each film. And I don't know if I call it necessarily a passion, like I said, but it's something I really enjoy doing, and it's fun to be able to tell these stories and to see, have something come. It's fun to see something that starts as just this little idea, and then I work with Brittany, who's the writer, and we come up with a story, and she writes something that's really fun, and then we just go off and bring that little idea to life and have a finished film in the end. So it is a really fun process to see it from start to finish.
Yeah, definitely. And among all the projects that you have the chance to work on throughout your career so far, is there any particular one that you're mostly fond of?
I've done a lot of romance movies just because that's what our company specializes in a lot. So I think one of my favorite was a movie called Timeless Love.
Yeah.
And I really liked that one because the story was just a little bit different. That one, for those who haven't seen it, it starts off with this woman who has this perfect family and kids and everything, and then she wakes up and discovers she's been in a coma for the last couple months, and that everything she thought was real was just part of her imagination, until she goes and gets a job and meets the guy from her dream and has these real memories about him, even though they'd never really met. And so it's a very different setup for a love story. And so that was really fun to do, just because it didn't follow the same normal formula as everything else, but had something a little bit more fantastical to lead into it.
Yeah. And now our final question. If you had the chance to give some advice to young people who wants to pursue a career in entertainment, or may it be an acting career or a directing career, what kind of advice would you give them?
I mean, learn your craft as well as you can. If you want to act, or if you want to direct or write, start doing it, and be willing to see what you need to improve on so you can, be the best you can possibly be. I think it's important to recognize that when you start off, you don't know everything, and take each project as an opportunity to learn, as opposed to saying, wow, look what I did and everybody should be so proud of me, which is an important part too. But to instead go and look at the project and say, what can I learn? How do I be better? How can I be the best actor, director, writer, or whatever the case may be, by honing my craft and being stronger each and every time. Also, don't just always talk about it, go off and do it. Nowadays, there's so many ways to be involved with projects, and they might be really small projects, but that's fine. Do the small things so you can learn and grow, and then hopefully get to the point where you can do what you want to do. Yeah, go off and do as much as you possibly can, because that experience will definitely make a difference in your career.
Thank you so much, Brian. It's been really a pleasure for me to have you here.
Great. Well, thank you very much.
And let's remind people that Love in Aruba airs February 18 on Great American Family, and we're looking forward to see more about Amber and Connor and their story.
Sounds great.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Bye.
you.